Welcome to the Jim Fleming Show on the Rhody Sports Network. From Learfield, tonight's show is brought to you by Pizza Gourmet. Rhode Island's wood-grilled pizza crust is a proud sponsor of URI football. Dunkin' Donuts, sip the Rhody way. By Rhode Island Medical Imaging, the official medical imaging company of URI Athletics. Newport Propane, Rhode Island's #1 choice for all your propane needs. Ortho Rhode Island, the official orthopedic and sports medicine provider for URI Athletics. And by Dave's Fresh Marketplace, better food, better service. Here's your host, Steve MacDonald.
Alrighty, hey, welcome to the Mews Tavern for our inaugural Coaches Show with Jim Fleming, the head coach of the University of Rhode Island, ready to start his 11th season here at URI, and we're better to start it outdoors on the patio. Basically, not even it's like the backyard, right? We've got AstroTurf down, and we've got shrubbery all around us and everything, and plenty of tables with umbrellas. Stop on by anytime, but if you're in the general area right now, swing on by. We'll be here for an hour talking URI football with the head coach, Jim Fleming. We also have offensive coordinator, Coach Patrick Murphy, going to be with us as well, and Gabe Sloat, who's a captain, running back, punt returner for the University of Rhode Island, right out of North Kingstown, not too far down the road from here, so we look forward to talking to those guys, but we're going to start off with the head coach. Coach, another season. Can you believe it? Ready to go.
Hey, man, we're still breathing and still going. I'm all about it. But you mentioned the turf out here at the Mews.
Yeah.
If they get down quickly enough, our athletic director, Thor Bjorn, has been known to get into a three-point stance and be able to show me how to cut. There he goes.
Bring back those UMass days.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah. Him and President Parlange every 3 days a week in there just grinding out in the weight room, and it shows.
I'm not too quick, but I can get by that, I think. I really do. Hey, speaking of guys that have excelled on the field, like Coach Thor Bjorn, obviously, in his UMass Minutemen days, some good news for the University of Rhode Island. First of all, not only yesterday when cutdown day came in the NFL, but prior to that, we had a lot of kids get into camps and get recognition at the NFL level and also in the Canadian Football League, et cetera. Coach, let's go down the list. I know one of them is sitting in front of us, Sebi Delasudis, who got a chance with Seattle. The Jets in their mini camp. And he went through the summer, and now he is back with you, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Just, got through with that, little cup of coffee and had an opportunity to get back with us. We were talking back and forth with him. He was, considering the awful decision to get into coaching. And so we told him to come on up here and cut his teeth a little bit. And we're thrilled to have him back. He walked on the field the other day. And the personal part of that is I think for 4 years he would come up every day during practice and kind of nudge me, and I'd nudge him back, and off we go. So it felt very comfortable to have him back here. And I think our kids will benefit and certainly be able to help Coach Flan out.
Stick a number on him and let's go, right?
Just another square body from New Jersey, man.
Sebi, one of the all-time greats at that center position on the offensive line, and we appreciate all the great work that he did at URI, along with Lorenzo Thompson, who got some good news, practice squad for the Cleveland Browns.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Just really excited for him. I know he, battled all the way through training camp. Obviously had an incredible developmental career, getting himself up to that position senior year, and then took it off the top at that conclusion of that. And they saw the talent there, and to have him have an opportunity to keep the hope alive and get in there and practice squad and continue to work, I think I would bet on that kid that he's going to end up being, on the field at some point in time.
Wish we could get him over to Foxborough. Yeah, could use a little help on that O-line over there, left tackle. Nick Correa, Seattle minicamp for him, and you've got an update with him too, right?
Yeah, just found out from Seb. He moved down to Tampa, and he's training people and working out, and so I think he'll be a great, example for young kids, and he's always been a tremendous worker, so I'm thrilled. I'm sorry that it didn't have a chance to continue to play, but all dreams come to end at some point in time. But they're prepared to do many other good things.
But with Nick and Zoe and Sebi, you're talking three guys as a group, as good as any and probably better than any at the University of Rhode Island on that offensive line and through the CAA and any other league you want to talk about. Those guys made up just an absolutely awesome offensive line. And now to have Seb as part of the program helping the other O-linemen with their game is going to be a big, big help for Rhode Island. That's one of the areas where you're looking to rebuild. We'll talk about that as we get into the team. Jordan Colbert, though, got some good news as well. Practice squad for Miami. Not official, but that's the word.
Well, that's thrilling. That's thrilling. I mean, you always, when you send them off and they run off and they do their pro days and they're all chasing that dream, you hope the best for them. And he obviously showed up in camp, and we've always known the kind of talent he is. So I'm really thrilled for him if he can continue to stay around. And, you know, the way that things are nowadays, you know, even if you don't crack that lineup, you know, you got the other leagues you can go play and play as long as you want to, really.
Hey, I want to thank Meg Ellis, Sports Information Director at Rhode Island, in charge of football and other sports as well, but she gave us the update, gave me the update on Jordan and Zoe and Sebi and Nick. And Ed Lee, speaking of other places to play, he was in the CFL with the BC Lions. Is that going to happen again, do you think?
I don't know. I haven't talked to Ed in a while, so I couldn't comment, you know, intelligently on that. But I'm sure he's still got the fire and passion and the talent, so I'm certainly hopeful he can continue to play. 4
straight winning seasons for the University of Rhode Island on the gridiron. Season tickets sold out for the second year in a row. Individual game tickets are available. Go Rhody.com, 874-RAMS, and try to get some for that Saturday night game at 7 o'clock, the kickoff to the season with a very impressive Holy Cross team in town, and we'll talk about them in just a bit, Coach. But first, you finished up camp. What kind of grade would you give the camp this year as far as what you expected going in and what you got from you guys?
Well, you're doubling up. You got me on that question the other day.
I
gave it a solid B, and you know, if I said it was an A+ or a D or an F, I mean, who knows? We had Fs back in the day, not E's, or I think we had E's. No, but I think, you know, we had we worked them very hard. I thought they, you know, responded tremendously to it. It was a physical camp. We were on 4 days and off, you know, 1. I think we managed that well. We looked at each one of those 4-day stretches as a rack. So we had, you know, 5 racks that, you know, I felt we continued to show improvement each and every week. And now, you know, we're trying to put the final touches on it so we're ready to go play on Saturday night.
You sense the anticipation with them this week, getting ready for game 1?
Yeah, until that heat came in, and then they were wondering what the heck I was trying to do to them. We sent out a you know, Teamworks, which is how we communicate with the team, the schedule, and we erroneously put down that we were in full pads, so I thought I might have had mutiny on my hands. But we took the pads off them today and trying to get them fresh as we can for Saturday. So I'm looking forward to seeing it. They got a little pep in their step, and I'm counting on a really good practice tomorrow to finish off the week.
I want to talk about this team, but first, just one thing about the schedule. You start off with Holy Cross, then at Minnesota, then home against Campbell, and then at LIU. A bye week at Hampton, and then Brown University. So the first 7 games, just 2 CAA games in there. And the first one is your 3rd game of the year. And normally it's game 1 or 2 for us over the last 5, 6, 7 years. First 7 weeks, 2 CAA games, 6 CAA games each week until the final gun goes off at the end of the year. Do you like that better? You get a lot of time before you get into the meat of the CAA schedule.
You know, I hardly even considered that. I mean, you know, when
you know your guys.
Well, I mean, I think that's certainly helpful. But you know, when you look at the schedule, I think it plays out favorably for us. I like the way we're going in with this very quality opponent to open. We've got to be really sharp, and we got to beat a team that's going to give us some instant credibility. You know, Minnesota's going to be a tough out. We all know that, but you know, we put our best foot up forward a number of times and, you know, come close a number of times and got one versus UMass in terms of an FBS type win.
Right.
You know, what's unusual is LIU camp. We haven't played them. I mean, we don't know those teams like we know the rest of the CAA. So, you know, our focus has really been, and my focus is keeping everybody in the squad, you know, really locked in on just the moment, the day, and this week. And because when I look at the past performances you mentioned for a winning season, that's great, but we're still too short, and we want to be able to get that. And I felt that, you know, that at times we've looked ahead a little bit, and that's shame on us. So we're not going to let that happen. We're going to keep them really focused 1 week at a time.
Dan Curran, who's the new head coach at Holy Cross, spoke earlier in the week about URI. He said, upper echelon CAA team speed, very impressive. 3 wideouts that can really hurt you. A couple of transfers that we'll talk about, along with Marquise Buchanan. Do lots of different things in the run game, And on defense, A.J. Pena is off the charts. Is that a fair assessment of your team?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's a fair assessment. Dan, I've got great respect for him. I mean, we got to know him. I got to know him a couple of years ago, and then his son was a very good player. I can't remember where he ended up, but we had a good conversation in my office about recruiting him and seeing if he wanted to come to URI. Mm-hmm. I think he's a quality individual that runs a very good program. That performance was validated at Merrimack, and obviously he got the Holy Cross job when Bob left.
Now, he played at UNH for Sean MacDonald, who's one of the great guys.
Not Sean. All right, got you. He's my man. Sean is.
Absolutely. And Chip Kelly was the offensive coordinator. Now, Chip is the OC at OSU with Ryan Day, and Ryan Day was the quarterback when Dan Curran was the running back at UNH.
And where was I? I mean, I get you. That's a small world deal.
But certainly is.
I certainly, when I saw Dan got the job, I think that there are always going to be a UNH flavor in it. You know, and I was looking for a couple things in the special teams particularly, but he's got a nice squad, and I'm looking forward to matching up with him.
New coach, new head coach, new offensive coordinator. How do you attack that as you try to scout Holy Cross?
Yeah, I give it to my staff. I mean, they went back, and we've been looking quite a bit at the Merrimack tape, in terms of, the stuff we've seen from them in the past, special teams, offense, and defense. But you're really looking at coordinators as well. Brian Vaganic is running the defense there, so we don't, really expect a whole bunch of different things than we've seen at Holy Cross in the past.
He was moved up, yep.
Yeah, Murph worked with him when he was at Holy Cross. So I think there's some familiarity there. And then Andrew Dresner is the kid they hired as the coordinator up there, and we faced him against, I think it was Stony Brook, and he's been around the block. He was at Stony Brook, and then he was up in Maine. Mm-hmm. So we've got plenty of film to study on what those guys do, and we're just, we're going to have to be able to adjust. And we got to we got to count on the rules that we have built in the offense, defense, and special team schemes will hold up. So as long as our kids know what to do, we should be able to adjust whatever they throw at us, and then it's all about blocking and tackling after that.
They've lost a lot. They graduated a lot of guys from last year's team. They went on a terrific run over the last few years with Coach Chesney at the helm. Running back Jordan Fuller, though, Walter Payton Award watch list, he's back, and Justin Shorter, senior at 5'11", a preseason All-Patriot League, is back as well. On the offensive side of the ball, those seem to be the two guys to.
Yeah, I think so, and they're they've got to fill some holes offensive line wise. But those two backs, they've got a couple of backs, but Fuller's the guy you're mentioning, and he's a beast. I mean, he's a 230-pound dude that can run downhill on you, and we're going to have to gang tackle him. You see him all over the films last year, breaking tackles and getting extra yardage. And then Shorter's a very, very solid receiver. I mean, we'd be happy to have him play here. So he's good enough.
Right, sounds good. And one other thing about this team coming in on Saturday on defense, William Robinson on the defensive line is a preseason All-Patriot League guy, and Frankie Monty, who's a linebacker there at 66 tackles last year in his preseason All-League as well. Have you? What do you know about those guys and their defensive side?
Good, solid players, active as heck. Monty's a North Jersey kid, probably knows the dude, but they're very good football teams, and I know Vaganic as well. I mean, he's a sound football coach. He's going to have them lined up the right way, and they'll be playing hard.
7-4 last year, 5-1 in the league, but near misses against some real quality teams last year. BC, Lafayette, and Army lost to all of those by only 3. And they are picked to finish behind Lafayette, second in the Patriot League this year. Okay, on to the Rams. Team captains named the other day, Coach Wesley Neal Jr. on the defensive side of the ball, defensive line, and on offense, our guest later on, Gabe Sloat, is the captain on the offense. Your thoughts?
I love the balance between the two. Gabe's been around. We know that, every time we need a spark or something to happen, he seems to show up. Obviously a talented punt returner, but he's also a tremendous example of our program. I mean, he is a very solid, worker. He works extremely hard in all areas of his life, academically, on the football field. Whatever he's doing at home, he's probably doing that in a first-class manner. And I think it's just another tribute to, Rhode Island high school football and those players they've been delivering us. We've had Gabe's now a captain. I remember Mamadou Mbai coming out of nowhere and becoming a captain for us. So I'm thrilled about that component. And then you got, Wes Neal, who's been a stalwart guy for us in the middle of the defense for 4 or 5 years. I can't even know. But when he walked in as a freshman, he was noticeably different. He's built strong. He's lean, big, 300-pounder that can really explode and play with a tremendous amount of effort. And so, I saw that he would be a captain when he walked through the door here. And certainly his teammates felt the same way, and that's the way it came out in the vote. You
mentioned Gabe being from North Kingstown, part of that Rhode Island crew that you have. 21 Rhode Islanders on the roster, Coach. That's about the number, maybe a little bit lower than usual, but right in that same area. But 4 of those guys probably going to start on Saturday night. Buchanan, Malay, Gomes, Sloat, all out of Rhode Island. You're getting some good quality players from your backyard.
Yeah, we are, and I think that's the message, that we've always put out there, that we want people to represent this state. It's a great state, and I think that there's a tremendous amount of pride in Rhode Island football from these guys, and I think that they feel, and I think the coaches in state have felt that it's been an underappreciated level of football. So these guys carry the banner of Rhode Island high school football onto our field representing the state university. I think that's an incredible thing, and anybody who's willing and able to come contribute from the state of Rhode Island will have an opportunity here, whether it be on scholarship or not.
Yeah, I know Mike Flanagan on your staff, the associate head coach, and also in charge of running backs and offensive line this year, and recruiting coordinator as well, has a lot to do with that backyard being out of Bishop Hendrick and St. Anselm's as well. We'll talk to Coach Murph about the St. Anselm's days. But a portal giveth and the portal taketh away. You lost some key guys in that portal, Coach, but you certainly really went in and got some guys to come to the University of Rhode Island. Dimitri Robinson on the offensive line, Carson Primrose, Malik Grant, Sean Harris, Greg Gaines. Harris and Gaines are the wide receiver position, going to be fun to watch. Harold Miles as well. The list goes on. 15 transfers to Rhode Island. Talk about them as a group, Coach, and what you've brought in to fill those holes and to advance this team.
It's a great group, and I hate the word transfer.
Yeah.
But because it's a name for them coming in. They're transfers from. Well, no, they're Rhode Island Rams now, okay. And I think that it's a tremendous testimony to the character of our football team. That they embrace new kids coming into the program. They wrap their arms around them. They teach them the way we do things. And these kids are all, exemplary people. You left out our quarterback, who's going to be
he's next.
Yeah,
I'm going to get to that question next.
Probably get to that. But, he's those kids are great kids, and they're all very talented, and I can't wait to see them play. We're going to war for the first time, and that really is the thing that solidifies you as brothers. And, these are all good kids, and they're going to all be contributing.
Don't be peeking on my notes, Coach. Okay?
I'm peeking. You know more than I do.
I'm going to tell the teacher. One thing, SportsIllustrated.com, SI.com, named the top 25 FCS transfers. Sorry, Coach. And Rhode Island, 2 of those spots. Number 6 was Malik Grant, coming out of Sacred Heart, the running back position. And number 23 on their list, this is across the country, number 23 on that list was Carson Primrose on the defensive line out of Sacred Heart as well. So 2 of the top 25 transfers, according to SI.com, are coming to Kingston.
That's a pretty cool stat. Again, something that I didn't know. But, I do have a relationship with Sacred Heart. I spent 2 years there and had tremendous success. But one of my best friends in coaching is Mark Nofri, and it was a little difficult to be able to snag his players, but he understood and he was very supportive. We also got another one of his kids, Abor Kortang, who's a young receiver. I think he's got a bright future here as well.
Talk about give a thing and take a thing away, right?
Yeah, right.
Hey, when Coach Murph comes out, we'll talk about the offense. Fleming, we want to concentrate on the defense here. Yeah. We have you every week, so we'll get plenty of offensive talk. But I do want to ask you about the question everybody wants to know about, and that's the quarterback situation in Rhode Island. Competition throughout the camp. Devin Farrell and Hunter Helms is a transfer from Clemson. You said in the CAA Coaches Conference earlier this week that they'll both play on Saturday. And anything else to add beyond that?
No.
Okay.
I mean,
right, just
it's good. We feel very confident with both those guys, and they've done a great job throughout training camp. Dev, obviously we've had longer, and it's going to be very interesting to see the game reps. And I think if I had to be on the defensive side and not know a bunch about either quarterback, I'd be a little bit shaken up.
Sure, absolutely. On the two deep, the depth chart, they're listed as or, so either one could get the nod on Saturday night. Just going to have to show up and find out for yourself. Front seven, pretty strong, and a lot of good people back. Wesley Neal, we talked about him, Malachi, Gabe, AJ. That's a good grouping in that front seven for you, Coach.
I'm thrilled about it. There's so many names in there that you're leaving out that are going to make an impact, and young guys and older guys. D-line's strong. The D-line's strong and deep, and I feel that we can play, 7, 8 of those kids right now and roll them in there. And, there's some dominant players there at the outside backer spot. Obviously, AJ sets the tone for us, but there's a number of guys that can come in and spell him if it's necessary. He only comes off the field kicking and screaming about not to go back out there. But
we're all kicking and screaming when you kick him off the field.
I know.
But when he goes off, the rest of the defense better go off, and the offense better be ready to go on.
I think that everybody else recognizes when we drop him in coverage, they want to shoot me. So we're going to just keep him rushing the passer. But I think the front seven's very solid. The linebacker second level is a good group of kids. Cole Brockwell is come light years in terms of his development since we got him, and he's another one of those great stories of guys who come in, partial scholarship, earn full scholarship, and now a starter and linebacker for us. And so I'm interested to see all those guys, cut it loose. The questions we have are, in the secondary, but I think we've got good people at the corner spot, and we're figuring out the right formula with our guys at the safety position. So we'll be multiple. You'll see a lot of people roll in and out of there, and I'm really excited to see that development. Again, coached by, an ex-player, Henry Youngkopoulos, which, has been a very cool thing to watch, him take over as a full-time position coach and doing a great job with assistance from Brandon Holt.
Yanni is fun to watch at practice. A lot of energy, a lot of motivation. He's going to be a great coach, and he already is on his way to being that. You mentioned Cole Brockwell. He and Devin Hightower went from 2s to 1s on that depth chart and have advanced since last year. You mentioned the defensive line, Case Mankins, who really played well for you.
I'm so fired up to watch him play.
No kidding, right? And showed you so much in his freshman year, and he'll be a valued player along with Kareem Wilson.
Yep.
And, Coach, there are two new faces that they're going to see, others, but two main ones on that defensive side of the ball. And the D-line, Carson Primrose, fills a big, big hole for you.
Yeah, I don't know how big the hole really was. I mean, because we do have good, solid players.
Right.
But Carson came in, and he's been – I remember on his recruiting visit, he came out of his position meeting with Marcel Lazard, his D-line coach, and he said, "I've learned more football in that meeting than I've learned my entire career. I'm coming here to URI," and Sel does a good job with those kids. They'll be frothing at the mouth to get out there and go battle. So. Really looking forward to seeing that group play, and Carson particularly. He's a strong, very tough, and very detail-oriented kid. So he's going to be a problem for some people.
Another Sacred Heart guy too, Coach.
Yeah, I know.
You're not going to be invited to the Christmas party.
No.
And Harold Miles at the linebacker position out of CCSU can help.
He's been a really one of those guys you look at that. I knew he was a solid player, but he's gotten better and better through camp, and I think that he's going to, he'll make an impact. He's got a lot of reps under his belt from Central Connecticut. Came on up here, and I'm excited to see how he develops through the season. So he'll get some quality reps.
You mentioned the defensive secondary.
Yep.
And that's really the answer. That's one of the questions to be answered this year, along with the O-line. Certainly capable people there, but they're going to have to perform if you want to get where you want to get. One returning starter in Braden Price in that grouping. What else do you see? You touched on it a little bit, but you got a couple of local guys that can really help you out there that showed great work last year.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about the corners. I mean, you're looking at Braden. I think he's an outstanding, boundary corner for us. He has the opportunity to lead that group back there as an older kid. Freddie Malay, again, going into his senior year. I mean, he's a guy that we're going to count on to be able to play corner and then drop down and play some nickel for us. But then you start to look at the Rhode Island contingent, really starts at the safety positions when you're looking at, you're looking at Emmanuel Gomes, you're looking at Andre DePina Gray. You're looking at, all of our guys from Rhode Island and a couple of young kids that are coming up. St. Ray's is making a big push for taking over URI football.
Absolutely. We talked about the specialists before the show, but those guys pretty much set in stone. Everybody's back for the most part except that kick return. Randy Jordan is gone, but you've got some capable people I saw at practice trying to fill that role.
Yeah, you're talking about filling Randy's role. I mean, we've got a couple of guys. I think Deion Silas and Sean Harris. I mean, those guys can pick it up. Again, you got 21. He can get out and roll too. We got a number of guys that can return the rock. You look at the specialists. I think Ty Groff, is going into it as our starter, but he's getting. We've had some serious competition at that spot, and that's kind of pushing everybody up. Dev Walter's got the punter. And Will Johnson's going to do our kickoffs. But really take a good look at a couple of these other people that are competing. Adam Okonowitz is a young freshman kid who's been really impressive through camp.
And you got probably the best long snapper in the FCS.
100%. And special teams coach. Yeah. I mean, I call him Coach Crisanti because, he basically runs the practice with those guys. But it's him and Vince Inagua. Vince Inagua, gets out there and works with those kids every day. And that's a good group. And Donato will be another one we're talking about next year. We're hoping he's going to get a shot because he's really worked very hard at his craft.
Absolutely. CAA coach, take a quick look at the league. In the national polls, usually getting 4 teams in the top 25. Villanova, Richmond, Albany, William & Mary seem to be the ones getting the most play nationally in the grouping of a lot of different top 25s throughout the country on the national level of the FCS. Is that how you size it up? Is that the top echelon in your eyes in this league? And where does Rhode Island fit in? You're picked 8th, but where do you think you belong?
I think I belong right at the very top.
Good.
We belong there. That's where we wanted to compete for. And, we've beaten Villanova. We've beaten Albany before. William & Mary we've beaten. Don't know if we've gotten one versus Richmond because we've hardly ever played them. Mm-hmm. We've gotten Elon, so we're going to be fine. I'm never worried about the preseason rankings. You know that. We've been at the very bottom and found our way in the middle and been in the middle and found ourselves in the middle. We want to make sure wherever we start, we're going to end up at the top.
Delaware, final FCS year for them. They're going to the FBS after this.
Good.
And Richmond as well. Richmond's going to the Patriot League, Holy Cross's league. When you look at some of the rules changes, Coach, the only one that stuck out to me as far as personality, coaches, any staff member now can technically or tactically instruct players. So I'd imagine that offers you more opportunities to get more of your coaches, administrators involved on that staff.
Well, it's grown exponentially.
Yeah.
As Brittany Miles, who I think is here, is our associate AD, who works with me on a day-to-day basis and running the program. And she comes out and says, you're really pushing the limits on this staffing issue, but it has been really a tribute to. Investment in the university and us, gives us an opportunity. We're not paying a lot, but we do certainly give opportunities to keep kids, in there and get them working. And can't give enough credit to Mark Parlange and Thor Bjorn for, trying to give us the resources necessary to be able to operate at a championship level.
And, Sebi, you got in just under the wire on that one. That's good, man. That's great. You got in before they shut the door on that coaching staff. But you got an excellent one right now, Coach. And we're going to take a break. Coach Murph is going to be with us next. And then a little later on, Gabe Sloat will be with us as well. It's the Jim Fleming Coaches Show live from the Mews Tavern from Learfield. And I want to thank our friends at Rhode Island's #1 choice for all your propane needs, Newport Propane, family-owned and operated since 1959. Newport Propane will treat you like part of the family. Visit them at newportpropane.com. And Ortho Rhode Island, as official orthopedics and sports medicine providers for the University of Rhode Island. Orthopedics on Ortho Rhode Island helps athletes and active people of all ages get better expertise, better care, and better outcomes. Learn more at Ortho Rhode Island and how they can help you out at orthopedic. Let me try that again. Orthopedicsri.com. Orthopedicsri.com. All right, we'll take a break. Coach Murph will be with us. He's going to try to read that one next time when we come back.
I've got the next promo, bro.
Back in a minute with more of the Jim Fleming Coaches Show. Welcome back once again to the Jim Fleming Coaches Show, powered by the Mews Tavern from Learfield. This is the Jim Fleming Coaches Show, presented by the Mews Tavern, live on the Rhody Sports Network. Thanks to our friends at Pizza Gourmet. Rhode Island's wood-grilled pizza crust is a proud sponsor of URI football. Order online today at woodgrilledcrust.com. That's woodgrilledcrusts.com. Gabe Sloat's going to be with us in just a little bit. He's over there enjoying a nice meal with the fam. And in the meantime, we're going to talk to offensive coordinator Patrick Murphy, 5th season at the University of Rhode Island, doing a standout job. Before URI, a couple of years as OC over at Holy Cross, and a native of Ayer-Mass, right? So I hear
Correct.
that when you were a kid, you, A, played on Fitton Field.
I did, yeah.
And B, caught a lot of Holy Cross games.
I did, yeah. That was the heyday of Holy Cross in the 80s.
Duffner, right?
Mark Duffner,
Yeah,
yeah.
great,
And the
great.
Gordy Lockbaum and all those guys. And,
Yeah.
so I kind of grew up in the shadow of Fitton Field and right up 190.
And Ayer High School played there?
Yeah, we played a couple championship games
Okay,
there.
yeah.
When I was growing up, and then when I played in 2 state championship games. It would move to WPI at that time.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Now, you mentioned Gordy Lockbaum. He's probably the person people first mention when they talk about Holy Cross. Two-way player, throwback player, Heisman Trophy candidate, finished 3rd in the Heisman, so he got a chance to go to New York. Rick Riley did a big story on him in Sports Illustrated about being a throwback guy, the only one in college football playing both ways at that time at that level. And do you know Greg Burke, the golf coach over at URI?
I do not.
Greg was the SID at Holy Cross when
really?
Gordy was playing. And,
Okay.
and Greg really championed that Heisman Trophy buzz and got him,
Sure.
or at least that's what he tells us, right? If you want to hear about it, just say, hi, Greg, and he'll tell you the story. He always does. But your days at Holy Cross, you worked under a great coach as well there, Coach Dresner. You guys know each other from the NEC, right?
Yeah, Bob was the head coach at Assumption, and I was the head coach at St. A's. Had a young running back on my team, Michael Flanagan.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's how I wound up there. I had just taken the OC job at Georgetown, was there about a month and a half. My family was still in our hometown.
Yeah.
While I was commuting from D.C.
Wow.
And I got a phone call from Bob Chesney, and, hey, do you want to come home? And it was in more ways than one at the time, right? So my family was back there. I had to go and I spoke to the head coach at Georgetown. He completely understood. Went back home and then was able to help turn the program around there at Holy Cross. In our second year, I think it was the first championship there in 10 years. We went from the bottom offensively, statistically, before I arrived. And, the first year we jumped to the top 2. And then the following year, we were number 1 across the board in just about everything and made the first playoff appearance in over a decade, first ring in over a decade. And it was a good time.
Yeah, that was 2019. And you replaced another URI connection, Liam Cohen, who went off to the Rams at that time.
Correct.
And Liam was the quarterback's coach at Rhode Island. He was a LaSalle Academy, UMass guy, quarterback's coach in 2011 at URI along his path. Let's talk about the Rhody Rams. I like to do grades. Overall grade for you for the offense in camp. What do you give them?
I'm going to stick with Coach Fleming said. It's going to be around a B.
You guys are non-committal. I love it. Let's go by the positions. Quarterbacks, we talked to Coach a bit about this. What do you see as what they bring to the table? Devin Farrell, Hunter Helms.
Yeah, I think both are unique unto themselves with some similarities. I think Devin, from a dynamic point of view, more explosive runner, very athletic, twitchy, accurate passer. Hunter, much bigger body, pocket guy, that can run and make someone miss. One of those guys is going to go 70 if he pulls it down as an opening. Mm-hmm. The other guy is probably going to go 17.
Okay.
Both can beat you with their arms. Both very good in the football classroom. I think Hunter, has had more experience playing, reps in real games down in Clemson. And I think Devin did a really good job for us when he did spot duty for us a year ago.
He sure did.
So it's a great position to be in for us. I look at it as we have 2 starters. Mm-hmm. There are a whole lot of FCS programs, FBS programs that would die to be in our spot.
And both ACC guys, Virginia Tech for Devin Farrell and Clemson for Hunter Helms. Devin, just a redshirt sophomore. Hunter at the end of his college eligibility. Does that factor in at all?
Yeah, I don't care. I don't think Coach Fleming does either. I think, we want to put the guy that's going to help us win the game, out there. And like he said, I think we could see both of those guys playing. And perfectly honest, you might see both of those guys playing at the same time. We've had packages in the past where we've done that, and it's a unique situation, and we need to take advantage of those things, just like we need to take advantage of the different changes in positions, skill, talent level, year to year. The offense is going to morph every year to take advantage of our players, and if we're not doing that, then I'm not doing my job correctly.
Yeah, and that's the new coach over at Holy Cross said one of the things he's seen on tape is that the offense is, the run game especially, is hard to figure out. You do a good job of disguising things and a good job of being effective on that end.
Yeah, well, I better. I've been in the same I've been in the same offense for 23 years, and I think the great thing about it is our guys get it. We can change, we can adapt, we can look different, and we can present different pictures to the defense. But we're just doing what we do.
In running back position, Gabe, Dion, Jaden, all back. Carson Horwood factors in as well. One transfer in from Sacred Heart, Malik Grant, who was a special player that you brought in to help out with that group.
That's an unbelievable group. Again, we got 6 guys, I think, that can all tote the rock, and they all do a lot of things really well. They can all catch the ball in the backfield. They're all really good in pass protection. They all can run inside with power. They can all run outside with speed. And we got a great leader, over to my right here, who doesn't say a whole lot, but when he does, people listen, right?
Yeah.
So he does an outstanding job. And the thing, that I recognize with Gabe, very early on in my career here is, if we're going to ask him to do something, he's going to do it. He's going to do it 100% of the time, all the time, and he's always in the right place. And he always, like Coach said earlier, he just shows up making plays. And I can go through the Rolodex in my head. 4th and 1 against Delaware, pops it for a long run. 3rd and forever against Stony Brook. He's in the right spot for a check down, running down the sidelines, and it's on and on and on. Touchdown against Georgia State a year ago, in a 3rd down situation where they're bringing the house and he's wide open. So he's very, very dependable, and that's a great guy to have leading that group.
Yep, that's why he's the captain of that offense for the University of Rhode Island, voted on by the players. The wide receiver position, Coach, a couple of new additions, along with Marquise Buchanan, bringing him back, another local guy who had a great year last year. You certainly lost some key guys with Summers, Savage, and Lee, but you got Greg Gaines and Sean Harris coming in, Coach, and both of them, I've watched them in camp, pretty darned impressive.
Yeah, Greg, the more he gets comfortable, reminds me a lot of Katero Summers. Big body receiver, very athletic, maybe a little bit twitchier. And then Sean Harris, 29 years of coaching. Sean Harris may be the fastest receiver I've ever coached. And I've coached a couple guys that played in the NFL. Coached one kid named Mark Wilson, played for the Cardinals, ran a 4.35. Sean, you blink and it looks like he teleports 20 yards downfield. He is legit fast. So it's a great group to have. I don't think I've coached a team that's had this much speed. When you look at Sean Harris, you look at Omari Walker, you look at Jamal Mensah, and Marquise Buchanan, all of those guys can roll with just about anyone that we play at any level, FCS or FBS. Those guys can scoot.
Coach mentioned Harris possibly with kick returns. Are you saying, hey, Coach, let's keep him with me?
I have no say in anything special teams-wise other than extra point.
Offensive line, Coach, we talked about what has left Rhode Island, some of the greats. You've got some quality guys trying to fill in those spots.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing, right? That's one of the key components to this all is finding a solid 5.
Yeah.
Right? And I think we're on the right track with that. The great thing about this team, from an offensive perspective, Sean's a senior, Gabe's a senior, Brady Rourke's a senior. Everyone else is back for the next 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, we're going to be coaching these guys for the next 2 to 3 years. There's no seniors on the offensive line. There's no seniors in the quarterback room. There's one in the running back room, or 2 in the running back room, and I think there's 2 in the receiver.
We talked about Mike Flanagan, who you coached at St. Anselm's. Yeah. He is in charge of the O-line, and Sebi is with you now as well. Mm-hmm. So they're in good hands as far as getting better as the weeks go on.
Yeah, absolutely. Sebi played in it for 4 years. Mike's, played in it for 4 years and has been with me here for going on our 5th year here in the system. So those guys definitely know it. They work their tails off, and I'm excited about what they're going to produce up front.
Big picture, do you have goals week to week as far as
of course.
Yards on the ground, yards in the air, points, things of that sort?
Yeah.
Same every week or different?
Same every week. If you ask Sebi, I'll bet you he'll tell you. So it's +1. And I don't care if we win 72-71 or 3-2. I'm lying about the 3-2 one. I won't be happy.
Yeah, you don't want to get shut out.
But that's been our thing is we want to play smart, we want to play hard, we want to be physical, right? The Rams don't beat the Rams, right? Most games are lost, not won. If we don't hurt ourselves with self-inflicted wounds, SIWs, talking about the guys all the time, if we don't do that, we get a chance to win at the end of the game.
I know you've been here for 5 years. We're lucky to have you here and have been each of those 5 years and hopefully for a good long time. But on Saturday, a little different, knowing that you got a lot of friends on the other side at that school in Worcester.
Yeah, I mean, Coach will tell you this is – yeah, I want to get after this one.
It ought to, right?
Yeah, I want to get after this one.
Right.
I want to get after this one.
It ought to. Coach, thanks so much for all you've done. We really appreciate
it.
You. Absolutely. I was going to ask you about Terry Lynch, but we'll keep that private.
We can get him out of retirement. He can sling a few.
Terry, my broadcast partner, is with us today. How about a nice round of applause for Terry Lynch back there? All right. Hey, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back. Gabe Sloat coming up in just a bit. Welcome back once again to the Mews Tavern. Steve MacDonald with you, and Gabe Sloat, one of the captains for the University of Rhode Island, part of the Jim Fleming Coaches Show. Boy, when you get on the inaugural show, Gabe, I'll tell you what, that is quite an honor right there. I think you get a blazer of some kind. Coach will get it to you. But Gabe Sloat, redshirt senior, running back, punt return for Rhode Island, 6', 205, out of North Kingstown, Rhode Island, not too far from here. All-CAA punt returner. Phil Steele, All-CAA punt returner as well. Last year, running back, 61 carries, 225 yards, 11 catches as well. 1 catch for a touchdown. Remember that one?
I do remember.
Tell us about that one.
It was Georgia State, Murph just said. So, I mean, that was the first game of the year. And
you said, I'm going to get a dozen of these this year.
Yeah, thought so.
But you did a great job with the run game and blocking as well for Rhode Island. Awesome work last year, and it got you the captainship this year. You work on the field and you work off the field with this team. Talk about the honor that is and the responsibility that goes along with it.
I was surprised. It's a great honor. I'm glad to be recognized by all my teammates, especially on the offensive side. But, yeah, it's a big responsibility. Obviously, Sebi's done it multiple times at our school. And I'm just looking to fill those shoes and add my own flavor to it. And I know I'm not the most outspoken guy, but I know that I can be counted on, and I think my teammates know that, and just ready to get to work with them.
That's right. Sebi was hogging it for a long time, right? You finally released that one, and you were right there to grab it, and deservedly so. Now, we do have a controversy. Number 5 this year, right?
Yep.
You've been number 34 for a while. You didn't start off with 34 either, so this is going to be a third number at URI, right? What was your first number?
69.
69. Now, back then, you were a walk-on, right, from North Kingstown, and built your way up into a scholarship player and into a starter, and then into a captain on this team. Talk about that progression from those years ago to right now.
I mean, it was a long progression, obviously. This is going to be year 6. But I just took it day by day. I didn't think about, when I first got here, about being a captain in 6 years or even being a starter. I was just thinking about going to the next day, improving every day, like eventually earning a scholarship. And I just kept that mentality all the way through, and things happen the way they happen.
Early on in those days when there wasn't playing time for you and there wasn't being on the travel team for you, were there days you said, I don't know if this is for me?
Never.
No.
I know I love football, and I know what I was capable of. So that thought never crossed my mind. I just knew that if I put in the correct amount of work, that I would make it to where I wanted to be.
Now, that's why you're the captain, because attitude like that, that's fantastic. Now, from the press box, we look down and we see 34s, the backs of the jerseys of your family members in front of us all along the way. And I talked to your dad at one of the workouts this year in the summer, and he said you had a little problem getting the fives in. I think the shirts were on order, but back order. Have they come in?
Well, I think they're on their way. I don't know if they're going to be here on Saturday.
No.
But
Saturday going to be another 34 day?
I don't know. That's up to them to figure out. But I know they'll have them at some point. So
go over to Elmwood Sports and just get some T-shirts with a 5 on the back of them. Absolutely. Hey, a great honor for you, obviously, to be the captain and to be one of those Rhode Island guys who talked to Coach about it. There's probably be 4 Rhode Island players, high school players, starting for the University of Rhode Island come Saturday night. Talk about that grouping, not only those 4, but the rest of the 21 that represent high school football in Rhode Island.
I think it's a lot of guys like me that feel overlooked in high school, and obviously we mentioned that Rhode Island's kind of overlooked. Mm-hmm. And I think we just come here with something to prove, and we work hard, just as hard as anybody else in the country, and we just want to earn our spot here and prove that we can all play at this level, and we're good enough to play at this level, and I think that's what those 21 guys in our team do, and especially the 4 that you talked about. Like, we just come in and we work hard.
You look out for each other? Do you kind of root for each other? Do you hang out together, the Rhode Island guys?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a big mixture of guys, but yeah, we always hang out and we talk about all of our high school games because basically everybody in Rhode Island plays each other.
That's right. Speaking of Rhode Island high school football, you are honored the Providence Gridiron Club 2024 Home State Hero Award recipient. Talk about that honor.
I mean, it's nice to be recognized. One of my goals being here was to inspire other guys just from North Kingstown, but also just from the state as a whole. If I can be one of those people that gets other guys thinking that they can be in this spot, they could be a captain of a D1 program, then that's what I want to do. So getting recognized for that award means that some people are noticing, and perhaps I am inspiring people. So it was a cool honor.
You won that award along with Xavier Truss at Georgia, and then Freddie and Emmanuel. I don't know if you know this, but they were runners-up.
I did know.
Do you dig them a little bit about being right behind you on the list?
No, I'm not. No,
you're not that guy, right? Nope. That's why you're the captain and I'm not. I guess I would have dug him a little bit, probably. When you talk about those people wearing the 34s and eventually the 5s, your family, I know you get great support from them, and we got a picnic table full of them over there. Talk about what they mean to you.
They mean everything. I mean, they've been with me since I started playing football at 5-6 years old, and I knew every time I go to a game or every time I'm just going through a season, I know that they're right there rooting for me more than anybody else. And even through the first however many years of college, when you talked about if I ever thought about giving it up, I never thought that, and they never thought that either. They always believed in me just as much, if not more, than I believed in myself, and they just still do it to this day. So it means the world to me.
Absolutely. You hear that? In case he doesn't say it enough, he said it on the Jim Fleming Coaches Show. That's a good start. Talk about that Rhode Island group, but not only that group, the people you've been with here in your 6th year? 5th year? 6th year. Sixth year. And you've had 4 winning seasons in the last 4, and part of that winning culture at the University of Rhode Island. I know you're part of that. What does that mean to you?
I mean, along the same lines, it's great to get Rhode Island football out where it deserves to be. This program is a great program, and I know Coach Fleming has done a lot for it. And these winning seasons need to be the standard from now on. It's something that Sebi and some of the guys that came before him set up for us. We plan on continuing it this year, but the next step is getting us, obviously, into the playoffs, and we want this to be the standard at Rhode Island.
Coach Murph talked about the team goals on the offensive side. Personal goals, do you have marks that you want to hit each Saturday, or how does that work?
I do have my own personal goals, but I keep those to myself.
Okay.
At the end of the day, I just want to win. So
let's get back to the captain thing for a minute. And then I want to ask you a little about North Kingstown, the town. We're going to quiz you on know your neighborhood. But first, as a captain, you said you're not a loud guy. So how do you handle that role?
I think how I handle it is I lead by example, and I know that every football season, no matter how perfect I want it to be or this team wants it to be, there's going to be a challenge that comes up, And there's going to be a point where our team could be on the verge of flinching or cracking. And I know that when we get to that point in the season and the team looks around at the guys, the leaders in the team, like me and like Wes, I think they can look at me and they can see a guy that's never flinched a day in his life, and they can be inspired by that and move forward with the confidence that any challenge that comes up, I'm going to take it on my shoulders and lead them through it.
That is awesome. What a great answer. And, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We're awfully proud of you, that's for sure. Time for Know Your Hometown, North Kingstown, Rhode Island. I got 5 questions. How many of the 5 do you think you're going to get right?
1.
1? All right. I think you can handle that. 2024, NK is celebrating, the town is celebrating its anniversary as a town. How many years? I'm going to give you multiple choice. 250, 300, or 350?
300.
300? What do you say over there, fam? 350, you're right. See that? Jeez, you should have asked them. 8 villages in North Kingstown. Name 3 of them. There are 8 villages that make up North Kingstown. Well, what are your spots? You know where your spots are. Villages. Get any of them?
Wickford.
Wickford is 1, right? Was the Navy base? Davisville. That's 2, yeah. Navy base down there.
Quonset.
Quonset is 3.
Thank
That's
you.
cheating.
Thank you.
Hey, you're 1
I'm
for 2
I'm
now.
not a historian.
Who is currently the town manager in North Kingstown? You got that one? Oh, even your family doesn't know. All right.
I don't want to offend the town manager.
Ralph Mollis is the guy. Ralph Mollis. And this is the last one, okay? What USA Olympic swimmer was born in North Kingstown?
Elizabeth Beisel.
Elizabeth Beisel is correct. Fantastic. You know what? In 3 or 4 years, when another kid from North Kingstown's playing for us, our question is going to be, who was the captain of the CAA championship team in 2024? And the answer is going to be Gabe Sloat. Thanks for being with us, my friend.
You.
God bless you. Have a great year. Look forward to seeing you guys go Saturday night at 7 o'clock. Again, for tickets, 874-RAMS and GoRhody.com to get tickets for Saturday night's game. They are still available. And again, season tickets are all sold out for this season at Mews Stadium.